Hello, good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Inside Pages. My name is Moro Audu. I'm glad that you tuned in to Inside Pages on Metro Television. As you do know, Inside Pages digs deeper into the pages of the most topical issue for the week by engaging the right guest and asking the relevant questions on your behalf. It is also an interactive show, and so I'll be telling you how to reach us in case you have any comments or contributions you want to make to the show. My name once again is Moraldo, and what are we looking at this morning? The topic for this morning is one that most of you are perhaps very familiar with because it is hitting all of us very hard, and I'm talking about the economy, which is in a very dire strait, largely driven by the issues with fuel, petroleum. And as we speak, a gallon of fuel, I usually want to say a gallon of fuel is going for around 42, 43 Ghana cedis. And so we're all feeling the pinch. Government is fully aware. So government is, as we speak, holding a crunch meeting at the Peduase Lodge and looking at the options available to them. The minority, remember, they also held a news conference and have also preferred some solutions. In fact, they have said the government has failed, but they have preferred some solutions or some options for the government to look at. We will examine what the minority has been asking the government to do and also look at whether what the minority is asking the government to do is feasible, and if indeed government does it, what will be the likely consequences. We'll take a short break. When we come back, I will introduce my guest. This is Inside Pages. My name is Moro Audu. Let me just share with you the text and the WhatsApp line for those of you who have any contributions or opinions that you want to express as far as this matter is concerned or the conversation we're about to have is concerned. It's 0500025621. 0500025621. So that's the WhatsApp, that's the text and WhatsApp line. Please feel free to have a conversation. Let me know how you are reacting or you're coping with the surge or the spike or the rise in fuel prices. We're all feeling the pinch. I'm more than happy to hear from you. Tell me how you're coping in this very, very difficult times that we find ourselves. And I think at this juncture, I would be introducing my resource persons. But what we'll be doing after introducing my resource persons, that we have some tapes we want to play. So first of all, we spoke to the MP for Pru East. That's Dr. Kwabena Donkor. He's also a ranking member of the Energy and Mines Committee. He has some proposals for the government as far as how they believe they can deal with the fuel price hikes. And then also the minority themselves had a news conference yesterday. John Abdullahi Jinapo was a former deputy power minister, former deputy energy minister, and also a member of parliament for Yape Kusau. He also held a news conference and he lambasted essentially the government for failing or for disappointing Ghanaians on how they've managed the economy. We also have that tape we'll be playing for you. But let me first of all introduce my guest who's already seated. The Member of Parliament for the Tamale Central, that's the Honorable Murtala Mohammed, will also be joining us. And also Miracles Abuaji is also a communicator for the New Patriotic Party. He was supposed to be in the studio this morning. Unfortunately, he can't make it, so we will speak to him via Zoom. He had an emergency this morning, so he's promised to speak to us via Zoom to tell us what the crunch meeting that is currently ongoing at the Peduase Lodge, what it's all about, and what the possible outcome of that meeting will be like. But first of all, let me introduce my guest. Good morning, Michael Abe. Michael Niabe is the programs coordinator for the Friedrich Ebert, actually. It's Friedrich, right? I mean, in German, we say Friedrich.
Friedrich.
Okay.
Ebert.
Friedrich. I've just been told how to pronounce it. It's Friedrich Ebert Foundation, or Stiftung. Yeah, that's where he works. He's a programs coordinator. So basically, he's a governance analyst. And also, the Honorable Member of Parliament is also here. Honorable Murtala Mohammed is also here. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. Comrade Murtala Mohammed. So socialist thing going on here. You see you. Anyway, so let me play you this tape. I'll also be joined by Miracles Abuaji, like I said, via Zoom. I'm told he's actually on. But let's watch these tapes. After watching the tapes, we'll come back and start a conversation.
This government has been a monumental failure. We call on President Akufo-Addo to dissolve the economic management team because they have not lived up to expectation. Indeed, if I were the vice president, what I will be doing is to tender in my resignation as head of the economic management team. This performance has been abysmal. Indeed, the failure of this government is legendary. The failure of this government is unprecedented. We have had so much money accruing from our petroleum exports. The benchmark value that we put per barrel was $61 per barrel. Today, Ghana is selling its crude at a price of over $100. So what are we doing with the windfall in terms of the revenues that is accruing? At least we will be charitable. We will not just criticize. We are calling on government to use part of that money to cushion the ordinary Ghanaian. We are calling on government to use part of the reserves from the energy sector levies, especially the price stabilization levy, to cushion Ghanaians. We are also calling on government to desist from profligate and ostentatious expenditure, some of which are needless, so that we can make savings to cushion the ordinary Ghanaian. Finally, we call on government to take a critical look at the Tema Oil Refinery, because the Tema Oil Refinery can refine our domestic crude oil. Also, we call on BOST, that is collecting 9 pesos per liter from each one of us when we buy fuel, to use that money to buy some strategic stock so that we can release those strategic stock in times of difficulties like this.
So we have the energy recovery levy, which is 49 cedis, 49 pesos, sorry, on a liter of petrol. We have the road fund levy, which is 48 pesos on a liter. We have the energy fund levy, which is 1 peso on a liter. We have the price stabilization and recovery levy, which is 14 pesos on a liter. We have the sanitation and pollution levy, which is 10 pesos on a liter. We have the energy sector recovery levy, which is 20 pesos on a liter. We have the special petroleum tax, which is 46 pesos on a liter. These are the taxes and levies. Of course, we have the margins, such as primary distribution margin, which is 11 pesos on a liter. We have the BOST margin, which is 9 pesos on a liter. We have the fuel marking margin, which is 5 pesos on a liter. We have the marketers margin, which is 46.14 pesos on a liter. And then we have the dealers, which is retailers and operators margin, which is 30.758 pesos on a liter. The states can do very little about the ex-refinery that is affected or that is influenced by the global environment. Currently, the Russia-Ukraine war is a factor. And then there's also the other factor that in Europe, they are in winter. And historically, during winter, prices of petroleum products, what we call white products, the refined products, go up during winter. And then, of course, there is also the post-COVID recovery of a number of economies. So that impacts on the price on the world market. The government of Ghana has very little control over that, except that Ghana is also a net producer, and therefore we are benefiting from the high prices. 62 cedis, $62 a barrel was used in our 2022 budget projected revenue. Today we are averaging over $100, and therefore the Ghanaian state is also benefiting from the higher prices. But the issue really is with the taxes and levies. Let me give you an example. The special petroleum tax is 46 pesos per liter. That was why it was introduced when prices plummeted, went very low. And therefore, the expectation is when prices rise and the state is making the revenue from the higher prices, that tax should be taken away totally. It is not a matter of being reduced. If we check through the Hansard, when it was being introduced, this was the reason why it was introduced. Of course, there are other taxes. The sanitation tax, for example, should be taken off. The Ghanaian state has control over the taxes and levies.
Right. So those were some presentations by the MP for Pru East. That's Dr. Kwabena Donko, who's also the former power minister. You also saw John Jinapo also telling us what he thinks about the government and the way it has handled the economy. Let's now listen to the Deputy Energy Minister in charge of petroleum, and that's the Honorable Ejapa Mensah. He was on Good Morning Ghana and has actually found time to respond to some of the concerns or some of the issues that have been raised as far as how government is dealing with the petroleum hikes is concerned. Let's watch this.
Look, it is possible that someday NDC will come back to power. I hope not in 2024, 2028, and 2032. Someday, it is possible that they will win the presidency. It is possible also that that day, NPP would be in the majority in parliament. So if you take this posture that you take today, and that eventuality happens, how are you going to govern? How? So it's important for us because, look, the managers of the economy have said that this tax handle is critical to enable us effectively manage the resources that has been constrained as a result of these factual matters that nobody can run away from.
Right, the Ejapa Mensah is the Deputy Energy Minister. You just heard him on Good Morning Ghana with Dr. Randy Abe. Now, what we're going to do is that we're going to display the prices, the export prices at the various petroleum, at the various OMCs before we kickstart the conversation. So as you can tell, so Total is selling super for 9 cedis 70 pesos. Diesel is going for 10 cedis 80 pesos. Shell is selling for 9 cedis 70 pesos. Diesel is going for 9 cedis 99 pesos. Gold is going for 8 cedis 22 pesos, and diesel is going for 8 cedis 22 pesos. So Star Oil Super 9.38 cedis. Diesel 9.98 cedis. Petrosol 9.95 cedis. Diesel 11.18 cedis. AMSA Oil Super 9.45 cedis. Diesel 9.55 cedis. Allied 9.50 cedis. 9.70 cedis. Puma Energy 9.70 cedis. 11.9 cedis for diesel. Zen Petroleum 9.3 cedis for super, and diesel is going for 9.99 cedis. So if you go to the pumps this very minute, this is how much you're likely to buy for either diesel or fuel, depending on what your car uses, or what fuel your car uses. Let me start with Miracles Abuaje. Now, Miracles Abuaje is a spokesperson for this government and also the Director of Local Government, Decentralization and Rural Development at the presidency. I'm sure that he would have some insights as to what the Peduase meeting is all about. Miracles Abuaje, good morning. Thank you very much for joining us on Inside Pages. Hello, good morning. Miracles, if you can unmute your mic, I think that's where we...
Senior. How are we doing?
I'm doing very well, and I hope you're doing very well too.
We're hanging in there. God has been good.
Right. Murtala Mohammed is here, your very good friend. He says hello. Michael Niabe is also from the Friedrich Ebert Stiftung. He also says hello.
Murtala likes to be called comrade. So, Honorable Comrade Murtala Mohammed, I salute.
Right. But Miracles, I'm sure that you would want to admit that these are very, very turbulent and these are very, very difficult times.
Well, I don't think there's anybody here in Ghana or even in the world right now or on the face of the earth today who would deny the fact that we are in extraordinary times. I mean, we're in times where we're experiencing um, a situation that we probably haven't seen in centuries. The last time we had a pandemic was 100 years ago. And then right when we're trying to recover from the pandemic, we found ourselves torn in a war, between two very important countries in terms of agriculture, energy, and so many other things to the entire globe. And that has made our lives extremely difficult. Don't forget that even as we speak, we still have so many other trade partners, countries that we trade with as a nation who are yet to fully open their economy up, to interact with us. China is still not fully opened to the globe. Europe have their own issues and they are struggling, and yet we have to rely on them for so many other essentials. And that has really made life, difficult for us. They have their own challenges and issues that they are grappling with. You remember at some point in places like UK, they even had supply chain issues with
Well, we're sorry about that. We're having some challenges with the Zoom connection. We had Dennis Miracle Abuaji joining us on the line via Zoom to tell us what government's position is as far as what's happening with fuel. I'm told Miracles Abuaji you're back on.
So I don't know where I got to, but I was basically saying that yes, it's a very difficult situation for the human race now, considering all the things that is happening. The superpowers themselves are struggling, and so it becomes even very difficult for those of us who have to, trade with them and partner with them, and more or less rely on them to even hold our breath. And that has made everybody very, very, very uncomfortable. We're hoping that a lot of these critical issues would be sorted and resolved as soon as possible, and so we can have some respite. That notwithstanding, I believe that government still has a huge responsibility to ensure that we bring some relief to the people of Ghana. We cannot throw our hands into the air, and we cannot throw in the towel, because the lives and the survival of the state depends on all of this. There may be a war in Ukraine and Russia. There may be a COVID situation around the globe. But we as a nation or a state have a responsibility to protect our citizens and make sure that irrespective of what is happening in other places, like in the US, the UK, the Germanys, and the rest, we ensure that the lives of our people and our citizens are as convenient as we can make for them. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now we understand that some high-ranking officials from the presidency, the president himself, and his ministers, leadership of the party, and the president himself is chairing a cabinet meeting, a very, very crunch cabinet meeting to look at the economy and to look at the fuel price hikes and to come up with options that they believe would alleviate the suffering that the masses are going through. Do you have any more information you can share with us as far as this crunch meeting is concerned?
I am not a cabinet member, even though it's like, just as you all know, you said, it's being held at Peduase, which is just in a few meters away from where I am now. I am not a cabinet member, and I would not know what is being discussed at cabinet until cabinet is done, and then they put it out for all of us, to know. But it's important that we been going on.
Sorry about that. These things do happen from sometimes. Dennis Miracles Abuaji is a government communicator. He was giving us some insight into, yes, Dennis is back.
I'm sorry for the network. I'm on the mountain, so
Right.
I was saying that this retreat is something that has been going on in the government since 2017. It happens at least twice a year, and it's been done uninterrupted. Of course, you are right if you describe it as a crunch, meeting, but for us in government, it's a regular ritual that we are used to, and is always chaired by the president, and issues are discussed, at that point. Hopefully, when they are done, I'm sure cabinet will put out a communique, and then all of us as citizens will know what is being discussed. But already the presidency already put it out there on try to let us know what it is that they are discussing. And clearly, the presidency was very clear and emphatic that they are discussing homegrown situations. They are trying to find homegrown solutions to the unprecedented, challenges that we find ourselves in at the moment. IMF bailout, as I've heard a lot of people bandy around, is not part of the discussion. The government has been very clear and very categorical about our position on IMF, that we believe that IMF is not the way to go. IMF is a burden to the people of Ghana. It is a burden to the citizens. IMF robs the people of Ghana the essentials that the state would have to provide them. IMF robs the poor of the social services and social interventions that the government would have to provide them. And we believe that in such difficult moments, it's not the best time for you to even begin to take away certain essential social services that you render to your citizens. You remember in the past, when as a nation we decided to go to the IMF, you remember some of the things that we had to face. You'll be forced to reduce or cut down or sometimes totally cancel some social services. You remember the nurses and teachers allowances and all those things. A freeze on certain public sector employment and what have you, because the IMF believes that if you think you are in certain challenges and you are trying to recover, then you are not supposed to give certain goodies to your people. We disagree. We think that no matter how much difficulty we find ourselves as a nation, we have a certain class of people, a certain category of people who we need to cater for, provide for, and take care of. And so
Okay, so once again, we apologize for that. But yes, Miracles Abuaji, Dennis Miracles Abuaji is going to be on the line and listen to the conversation. So as and when we have a better line, we would ask him to join. He would rejoin us. But let me come back to my guest in-house. Michael Abe is from the Friedrich Egbert Foundation or Stiftang, and Murtala Mohammed is the Member of Parliament for the Tamale Central. They're both here. So you heard Miracles Abuaji. He says government acknowledges that we're living in very hard times, but government, you can be rest assured, would come up with a solution that would make all of us happy. But before you respond to him, I noticed that you have consistently been talking about why the government or the president, I'm talking about the president, why he has failed to deliver the State of the Nation address. I don't know what's your interest in that. Why have you been consistent on this matter?
Good morning, Moro, and good morning to my brother, and of course your viewing public, and most importantly the good people of Tamale Central. I know.
In fact, a lot of them are sending me messages already.
The heat in the north is
it's not a joke.
It's getting in, and Ramadan is also
coming. I can imagine,
and it will be extremely difficult.
Extremely
difficult. We just pray that. But unless we go through
Grant us
this
some shifa.
month of Mashallah, this month of Ramadan peacefully. I thought you would have asked him why
unfortunately
government has consistently failed.
Right.
Addressing the nation.
We lost him, but he's on
yes,
he'll
addressing
get
the
back.
nation is a constitutional requirement.
Right.
Article 67 of the 1992 Constitution is very clear. It says, among others, that the president shall, at the beginning of the session of every parliament, address the nation through parliament and before the end of any parliamentary session. As a matter of fact, March is ending. We shall be rising in April. the president has refused, for obvious reasons, to address the people of this country. Addressing Parliament, strictly speaking, is not addressing members of Parliament. What the framers of the Constitution envisage is that the president should be given the opportunity to address the people of Ghana. And over 32 million Ghanaians cannot be gathered at one place for the president to address us. He does that through Parliament. And it is anchored on three important principles: the economy of the state, social issues, and if you like, governance or peace and stability. That is sine qua non to the progress of any society. So for the president to renege this responsibility, for me, is telling. And we understand why the president is running away. Because there is nothing to tell the people of this country. You remember, this thing was never practicalized. In fact, President Rawlings, of blessed memory, never took advantage of that. But President Kufuor started it. And ever since, all successive presidents indeed engage in that. Our expectation was that by February latest, the president would have addressed the nation. Mind you, President Nana Addo did it with alacrity when he won the elections in 2016. And I guess somewhere 2017 February, he addressed the nation. He did so because that was the time Ghanaians were deceived into believing that he had a miracle wand. And we remember he pregnant his State of the Nation's address on how he was going to fight corruption and the vision he had. Little did we know that it was visionless, that even if there was any vision, it was Blair. And that is why the president is running away from doing what he is supposed to do. He's been instructed by the Constitution to do so, and he's run away from that. If President Nana Addo never addressed the nation since 2017, I wouldn't have any problem with him at all. I would have said perhaps he's unwilling to do so. We would have raised the question of he disregarding the Constitution. That would have been another matter. But he addressed the nation when he won the elections in 2017. Why is he run away? Because what is he coming to tell us? What is the president coming to tell us about the state of the economy? What is he coming to tell us about his fight against corruption, when he himself is the promoter of the thievery we experience in this country? What is he coming to tell us?
How do you say the president is the promoter of thievery in this country? How do you justify? How do you substantiate that?
Who doesn't know that the Flagstaff House is the citadel for corruption? I mean, if you do not know this, then you just return from Kusumukaya. Those of us who live on earth and in Ghana are well aware. Because, look, and Moro, take the 2017 budget. Read that budget carefully. Understand that our friends in the MPP, they don't read. Yet the Obama will tell us that we do not read. No wonder he's in oblivion. Nobody knows where he is. If you take that budget statement, and I have done that, every single paragraph is pregnant with fighting corruption. You take it. Every single, and Googled the State of the Nation's address in 2017. What the president said about his desire to fight corruption. Juxtapose that with the 2018. They started moving away from corruption. But that was the time they started chopping, and robbing us of our little resources. And I can tell you, the 2022 budget, I've combed through the entire budget. The word corruption is mentioned 2 times in it. And as a matter of fact, the 2 times it is mentioned, it is not talking about how they are going to fight it. It is about strengthening and supporting, if you like, anti-corruption institutions, when you don't even give them the needed resources. So what is he going to tell us? What is he going to tell the people of this country about family and friends government, when in February 2016, in Kumasi, without any provocation, he lambasted President Mahama and accused him of running family and friends government, when he knew in the heart of his heart that there was only one family member of President Mahama who served in his government, Joyce Bauer, as a deputy minister for transport. Joyce has the capacity to serve as a minister of state, a lawyer in practice for 18 solid years, who had worked in the public service for several years. Yet, you had Professor Adayanko, that ethnic chauvinist. They went to town accusing President Mahama of running family and friends government when they knew that President Mahama never had family members of his members serving his government.
But describing
Today,
sorry, describing Professor Adai as a chauvinist, I think it's quite harsh.
Professor Adai accused President
You mean
Mahama.
Professor Stephen Adai?
Yes, he said.
The former Ghana Revenue Authority board chairman.
Yes, I'll tell you why he
The
said.
Gimpa man.
That, in fact,
He's a chauvinist?
an ethnic chauvinist.
Really?
Yes, and frankly speaking, I'm even being charitable. He said that President Mahama has appointed Nordness, a professor. This was the word he used. Appointed Nordness in his government, as if Nordness were not human beings. He's worse than an ethnic chauvinist. Where is he today? When they knew that President Mahama had just one family member who was capable of serving in any capacity in the administration. So what is President Nana Addo going to tell us today when he has 54 of his direct family members serving in his government? What is he going to tell us? What is he going to tell us today when the daughter's husband and then the cousin or the nephew, the wife, they own the Frontier Health, that is robbing the state, generating millions of dollars every month?
Do you know this for a fact?
Oh, Asante Bedio
I'm
Otu's
talking
wife,
about the relationship.
Asante
Do you know this for a fact?
Bedio Otu's wife
Uh-huh.
is one of the owners of Frontier Health. One of the daughters of the president's husband is another one of the owners of Frontier Health.
Do you have evidence to back this?
Well, if they think it is not true, let them come out. And I've been saying it. Go to the Registrar General. They own it. They own the Frontier Health. And this Frontier Health was operating there illegally. Courtesy the Minister for Health. When he appeared before the appointment committee, he said that he didn't know of their operation initially and that they operated without a license. They had no prior knowledge in the work that they engaged in. And now they are doing that. I know what they did, and I feel extremely hurt about this. And I don't know whether I should be the only person talking about this. We are talking about fuel prices now. One of the reasons why fuel prices are escalating in Ghana, which will come in a jiffy, is because of the disastrous performance of our local currency. Because we don't buy the refined fuel with our cedis. We buy them with the dollars, with the foreign currency. Now, if our money is struggling, and one of the surest way we could prevent the money from struggling is to have a lot of money. It's a simple law of demand and supply. Mm-hmm. This Frontier Health, taking $150. $150. You know how much they give the state? $2. $2 in this country. Under President Nana Addo, they charge $150 and they give government of Ghana $2. They never had prior knowledge. Those they have employed to do the work there are Noguchi staff. They engage Ghanaians, working their graduates and pay them 837 Ghana cedis. And what is hurting and why our city is struggling? They have opened an escrow account. The money is undeserving to even remain in this country. So all the millions of dollars they get, they wear the money out. Now, if those monies were to remain in Ghana, what do you think the impact would have been on the value of our domestic currency? But that money, they take it out. I'm saying that I don't know why nobody... Look, the Minister for Transport appeared before the Public Accounts Committee, and I asked him whether it was questionable that he takes $2. A company that never engaged in this work, they have no expertise in it. Nothing. You take Noguchi employees, there are those working on it. Now you want us, our city, to have value. No wonder that the dollar is a fugitive now. Dr. Bawumia told everybody in the presence of everybody in this country that they had arrested the dollar, locked it, and gave the key to the IGP. The last time I checked, the dollar has broken jail. It's been pursued by the IGP. So I will tell the IGP to stop the showmanship and pursue the dollar. Because, courtesy Dr. Bawumia, it was in his custody. It has broken jail. So it hurts me so much that this thing goes on. They have decided that the money should not even remain here. I mean, does it even make sense? Look, Noguchi could have done it.
So you're alleging capital flight?
I'm saying that Noguchi could have done it. Police Hospital could have done it. 37 could have done it. Kolebu could have done it. In fact, Dr. Nyaho Tamokulu and other private health centers, Ghanaians, they could have done it. Why would you do this to this state? Which country takes $150 on this in this world, under this sun? Which country? They still charge $150 and they give the airport company, government of Ghana, $2. Yet you have Paul Adumochiri who will buy artificial flower, Christmas tree, 100,000 Ghana cedis. Embarrassingly, The lies at Kotoka was disconnected. Disconnected. Why are they doing this to this country? So what is the president going to tell us? What is he going to talk about the economy? The rate of the dollar, how much was fuel prices? What is he going to tell us about security in this country? As a matter of fact, in 2018, the first quarter of 2018, per the police themselves, their reports, that the first quarter of 2018 registered the highest armed robbery ever in the history of this country. So what is he going to tell us? A government is elected to ensure that you provide security and safety for the citizens, to improve the living conditions of the people, so that we can also have standing in the global community. We have no standing. And I listened to my brother who was making references, blaming the global economic challenges. And I'm pointing to the Americas and United Kingdom. When COVID is gone, and when this conflict is gone, when the living conditions of the people of America are improving, then let our living conditions also improve. I mean, they rush into making such comparisons. When you make such comparisons, when it doesn't suit them, they say, you can't compare these two countries. Were we the only country, or are we the only country affected by COVID?
Okay. You held a news conference.
So the president has nothing to tell us.
That's fine.
That
So,
is why he is running away.
But
Mr.
Murtala,
President,
but
why
Murtala,
are you running?
But Murtala, most of the issues you are raised are not new. I mean, these issues have been there. This whole talk about family and friends, we've accused this government several times on this matter. Why would you think that this time around the president will shy away from addressing the nation because of these very issues? I mean, most of them are not new. The only thing that is new, perhaps, is the fact that we are seeing a surge in fuel prices that's unprecedented.
That's not the
but
only
90% of the issues are not new.
That is not the only thing that is new. The CD to the dollar.
The depreciation of the CD. Well,
the CD to the dollar is 7 now. That is not the only thing that is new.
Price.
Common fund, and I said this on a program, and I wish my brother was here, Dennis Abuaji, when I said that they never, the entire last year, they never released common fund. I said they did. What they released was arrears of 2020. And in fact, if you look at the act, it's even illegal. It's a statutory fund. That you can, and his argument was that, they release one and leaving the other one. Why? Common fund is calculated based on the amount of revenue we generate as a state. And then you factor that into the formula. So if you have a Denta municipality that is supposed to get 100,000 Ghana cedis in third quarter of 2021, and they couldn't get it, 2022, first quarter of 2022, they may get more than 100,000 or below 100,000.
Okay.
So if you release arrears, it's not early. Why is it that they haven't granted that they release just 1 quarter?
Okay.
Or even 2 quarters? It is in arrears. So what is he going to tell us? As a sitting member of parliament, the entire 2021, only 1 quarter of 2021 was released to me. 1 quarter. 1. And it's even a violation because the monies are generated. Monies are collected.
So this for you.
So what is he going to tell even members of parliament? I couldn't release your common fund. Look, the country is broke. And the earlier they admit, the better. You see, when we had Senchi, we invited everybody. The NDC was magnanimous enough. President Mahama extended invitation to everybody. Because what was going to take place at Senchi was for the good of this country. The MPP, and they have that trait. They didn't only ask their people not to participate, they issued a statement that if any MPP member participate in the Senchi, they were going to dismiss the person from the party. But are you surprised? They did not participate in the drafting of the 1992 Constitution. Are you also surprised? They voted against the motion of destiny, a motion that gave us independence. They were against it. Now today, I listened to my good friend, Ajepa Mensah, and saying that the NDC should remember will come to power. NDC has not issued even a statement. You issued statement warning your people. And I remember, was it Kwame Mpianim, one of them who said he was going to, what the things they said about that. Today, you see, Kama is just a beast.
What the deputy minister was saying essentially was simple, that you are doing everything possible to undermine them in parliament.
How?
You are doing everything possible to make sure that the e-levy is not passed. Tomorrow, the NDC can be in power, or he said, I'm using his word, he said, can be in power tomorrow. And imagine a situation where the NDC is in power and you do not have the majority in parliament. how do you expect the MPP at the time, or how do you expect the MPP then to support you when you're in government, to be able to do government business? Because your attitude in Parliament is something that is really frustrating the parliamentary work. That's the scenario he was painting on Good Morning Ghana.
Moro, let me first and foremost state that in
Yes.
this Parliament,
Yes.
this 8th Parliament,
Yes,
and the first session of this Parliament,
yes,
the NDC has cooperated with the MPP in passing several loan agreements, in passing several bills, and in passing several laws.
the e-levy is the most important thing to them.
I'm coming.
It's like, forget about all the other
Moro,
ones.
yes,
It's the most important thing to them.
I'm coming to that. I'm saying
Yes.
that we participated in doing that.
Yes.
So it is absolutely ridiculous for anyone to say that the actions of the NDC in Parliament is deliberately frustrating the effort of government.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it is not surprising. He's not the only person. You have my good friend, Anu Dampre, the majority, chief whip, who also stated that Honorable Bagbin's travel for medical attention was frustrating the ability to pass the e-levy. Honorable Bagbin had to cut short his medical attention, came back for 2 to 3 weeks. The e-levy never found a space in the business statement. And the business statement is presented by the majority leader, who is also the Minister of Parliamentary Affairs, which is presented and approved on Friday for the incoming week. For 2 to 3 weeks, they never tabled e-levy. So who is frustrating who? But you see, Moro, let's also get something very clear. The opposition to the e-levy is not a monopoly of the NDC. As a matter of fact, there isn't any civil society organization that has not condemned the e-levy. ISE, the last time I checked, is not an NDC wing.
Okay.
ISE is a reputable, department, if you like, institution in Legon.
Okay.
And they have the expertise for several decades
Right.
of engaging in analyzing economic policies.
Right.
They have condemned this. As a matter of fact, Imani mentioned them. Multimedia groups are not friends to the NDC.
Yeah, but these are
Hold
not
on,
groups.
I'm
No, but you
coming,
see, these
please.
groups are not with them in Parliament.
Can I finish?
They can hold your opinion, but allow them to pass it. That's what they're saying.
Yes, I'm doing
Yes,
it. I'm
yes.
saying a multimedia group. In fact, if they have friends in this our political discourse, it should be
Yes.
the NPP.
Okay.
Because you have some of them who are trained and now are members of Parliament today.
Right.
Multimedia group conducted a survey, and over 90% of the people said they were against e-levy.
Right.
Central University College, a university which owner is an MPP person,
Right.
a university that gave their space to Dr. Baumia to engage in his voodoo economics before 2016 elections. They have conducted a survey.
The majority can be wrong.
I'm saying that they have conducted
No, I'm saying the majority can be wrong.
I'm telling you the consistency.
Okay,
Then you are
that's fine.
telling me that apart from the NPP, everybody in this country is an idiot.
I'm not saying they. I'm saying they
so
can
I'm
be
saying
wrong.
that Central University,
Yes.
also they themselves, the university that gave their space to Dr. Baumia to do his voodoo economics, they have conducted a survey over 90%. But let me conclude on this.
Please do, because I want to bring
After
it back.
every budget statement,
Yes.
we have what we call a post-budget workshop. The purpose for the organization of the post-budget workshop by Parliament is to collaborate with government, to get expertise, to come take members of Parliament through
Right.
the policy statement, why you are putting this, why you are doing this. When they all came to meet us at Volta Serene in Ho, not a single one of them did not have a problem with the e-levy. In fact, including the respected Professor Ali Nachan, they all raised questions. So please,
Okay.
they should not reduce it to an NDC MPP ball.
Okay.
That is the position
Okay.
of the majority of the people
Right.
of this country.
That's fine.
And it coincides
Okay.
with the NDC's position.
consistent with the NDC's
And that's a
position.
responsible position.
Okay. Let me bring in now Alhaji Abbas Imor is the Director of Industrial Relations at GPRTU. They are warning that next week they may, or it is likely they would increase transport fares. He's joined us in the studio. Let me welcome him, and then I'll go to my Kalabi. Alhaji, good morning.
Morning.
Is
Sorry for coming late.
no, that's fine. That's fine. We understand because we had already been informed that you were on another
Maybe it's
platform.
the fuel.
And
Alaji
so-
couldn't buy fuel.
Well, Alhaji will tell me how much fuel he's bought this morning. Alhaji, I'll come to you shortly. you are running a business which is also affecting our lives very directly. So it'll be very interesting to know whether you are going to make our lives more difficult or you're going to stabilize it for us. Michael Abbey is here. Michael, do you have any, first of all, do you have any opinion to express on this State of the Nation address? I mean, Murtala believes because things are not going well for this government, the government or the president has decided not to or is delaying. Because at the moment, we don't have any official communication from the presidency that says the president is not going to do is not going to address the nation. But what we do know is that it has delayed, which is quite unusual. Do you have any thoughts to share before we go to the petroleum discussion?
Right. Thank you very much, Moro, and good morning to my colleague, panel members, and our viewers watching us from home. Well, of course, it is a worrying issue that the President of the Republic has so far not been able to address the citizenry of this country. Indeed, as Murtala put it, I mean, it is not about the president addressing parliamentarians, but addressing those who queued to either vote for him or who even didn't vote for him. Because immediately you assume the reign of presidency and you are president, you are for all. And Chapter 6 of our 1992 Constitution injuncts you to, whatever you do through your public policy making, allocation of resources, distribution of opportunities and what have you, to factor everybody.
Right.
So you are the president for all. And Article 67 is very clear that the president shall address Parliament. I mean, addressing the nation, but doing that before Parliament. Indeed, it is not an issue of the president not addressing or the president or no communication coming from the president outfit as to whether he was going to address the nation or not at all. Indeed, when you look at Article 67, it is quite clear that the president shall address the nation at the beginning of each session. And when we say at the beginning of each session, what does that mean? Reasonably, it means that within the first few weeks, at most the first 2 months of Parliament beginning, we expect our president to address us as a people, that my people, this and this is the state of our country. So at the beginning of its session. Now, Murtala mentioned that next month, Parliament may be going on rising. And clearly, reasonably, the president, I think, may be breaching this particular phrase at the beginning of its session. Because when can we say is the beginning of Parliament?
Right.
But you see, I always keep saying that you can't say you are practicing democracy and forget about the qualities, characteristics of the actors and the politicians who purport to act in the democracy. Having a democratic system is different from having a Democrat or having a group of Democrats running the affairs of the country. Now, it is not only Article 67 that the president may appear to be breaching now, but if you could recall, prior to even the 2020 elections, there were calls by civil society organizations, I remember the opposition NDC party as well, for a presidential debate. The president then obliged to any call for a presidential debate. I think some weeks ago, I heard some journalists calling on the president, Mr. President, we want to meet you, meet the press, which equally has been a feature of previous government, where you open up your space to engage journalists like yourself. You have the opportunity to ask questions that may be lingering on the minds of ordinary Ghanaians.
But that's subject to the discretion of the president.
No, that's why I talked about
That's
democracy and a Democrat.
Right.
You need to have such democratic values to be able to, when even it is not constitutionally injuncted, to see through that we are representing people, you've been voted for by the people. Indeed, the definition of democracy, people is central. So you must create space deliberately as a Democrat to keep engaging the people, whether or not you even have a law injuncting you to do so.
I understand you, but,
So-
but Michael, the point I'm trying to make is that the president may not be personally engaged in the media as he's done in the past. But how does that, for instance, and that if I follow your logic, how does that, for instance, take away his democratic credentials?
No, so you see,
Do you get the point I'm making?
I get you.
Yes.
But you see, democracy,
He may not be personally addressing the media.
democracy,
That's a matter of style. That's a matter of form.
democracy
Yes.
is not only about laws. Indeed, there are protocols, there are conventions, there are norms that are entrenched over time.
Yes.
That may not be legislated black and
I
white
agree with you. Conventions.
as a code.
Tradition, right.
Norms, values.
Absolutely,
And what
I-
have you.
yeah, that's true.
And so if it is a democratic virtue or value that the president once a while, and this is a convention that has been established,
Right.
meet the people through the press,
Okay.
engage with them. It's a value that the people cherish. And any president that may fall short of this, clearly people will begin to question your democratic credentials. That's a fact. And so the whole issue about because it is not law, we should allow it to be. It is at his discretion. I would interpret it from the democratic values prism that, listen, there may be a democratic deficit as far as our president's conduct and the way he manages the presidency is concerned. And there are several examples one can actually point to. Again, so you see, because it happened. Oh, it's okay. It's not law. There is no law injuncting the president to address the press. There is no law injuncting the president to participate in presidential debates. He's moved gradually. Today, there is a law talking about he addressing the nation before parliament. And he thinks that, well, after all, I'm the big man here. Who cares? And it's because I got away with a cardinal democratic virtue of engaging the people, even through the media. Nobody spoke about it. And you see, sometimes also, there is what we call freedom of expression, for instance. You have the right to talk and engage. And as a president or a leader of the nation, it is implied in your duty, in your obligation, to ensure that intermittently you engage the people.
Yes.
So there may be implied responsibilities on the president,
Okay.
which will not be expressed in our laws.
Yes.
And that is where the issues of democratic values and norms come in. So let us not make it as, there is no law in
I am
the president.
no. You
to
see,
do
I
so.
understand what you're
And
saying,
I want
Michael.
us to be clear on
no,
this.
I understand what and
Because,
and
you
I
see-
don't want us to belabor this point. I don't want us to split over heads over this. But what I'm trying to say is this: if the president decides to meet the media, and as is done, presidential media encounter, something which Kufuor started, Professor Mills continued,
JM continued.
GM continued, and so on and so forth. I'm saying it's all well and good. It's fantastic. It's nice. But if the president decides not to meet the media, I don't see how that takes his democratic credentials away from it. I'm saying that I am yet to be convinced about the argument you are positing.
And particularly,
But let's
so,
not- let's not-
particularly
let's not
so
split hairs over this
when we are
because-
talking about the president who
Look,
always
the
prides
matter-
himself
no.
in, for instance,
No,
repealing
Michael,
or
Michael,
contributing to the repeal of the criminal
in
libel
issue,
law.
the matter in issue is that the president is expected to deliver the State of the Nation address. Mutala, the president is expected to deliver the State of the Nation address. For some reason, we haven't been told why. But the fact of the matter is that it hasn't been delivered.
Precisely.
And Mutala is raising, in his view, what he believes are the reasons why the president has decided or has not delivered the State of the Nation address yet. He's purely entitled to that opinion. But I do not think that
The media engagement.
straying into the area of look, it speaks to something about the president and the fact that the president
Precisely.
and the fact that the president is happy to be moving away from conventions and constitutional requirements
Moro,
and things
can
like
I
that.
ask
It's
you-
why I know.
I know you
the
asked
point
a
is,
question, but can I ask you a question?
I
A brief question.
am not convinced yet.
Can I ask you a brief
Yeah,
question?
please do. But Alhaji Moro is here. I need
Yes.
to go back to
Can I
Alhaji
ask you a
Moro.
brief
I have it.
question?
Please go ahead.
Moro, what are the essential ingredients of a democracy?
Yes.
Accountability, transparency,
Yeah. And probity,
and probity.
social justice
But how does the president account
to the people.
to the people?
Look, the
I'm
president.
coming.
Look, he has the director of communications.
Can I finish?
He has the information ministry.
Can I finish?
He has the how do you call the
Moro.
these guys who go around.
Moro, I haven't finished asking
Okay,
my
please go
questions.
ahead.
in
But
this
I am
in
on
this
the floor,
country.
actually.
Oh, yes,
Moro,
yes.
So
You-
when he
in
finishes.
this country,
Yes.
in this country,
yes.
in the matter of the LGBTQ nonsense, I remember when the NDC was in government under President Mahama.
Yes.
Honorable Ayarga, who was the spokesperson, in fact, your President Mahama, President Mills, you remember? No, it was under even President Mahama when Honorable Ayarga was the Minister for Information.
Yes.
Myself and Felix were his two deputies.
Yes.
Honorable Ayarga made the position of the government and the
Yes.
president very clear.
Yes.
President Mahama's position on the LGBTQ.
Yes.
I mean, I don't even know. Well, every day it keeps on changing.
Yes.
Plus.
Plus,
Then
plus.
you are safe.
President, when he said it, that was this was the minister in charge of communication
Okay.
for the president.
Yes.
The MPP said no, they wanted to hear it from President Mahama himself.
Yes.
So if you have ministers who communicated for and on behalf of the president, how beautiful it would be if the president himself, and in any case, we have all agreed that it's an acceptable convention. It deepens and widens our democratic space.
Yes.
That the president engages the media so that teasing questions could be asked.
Yes.
Why is he running away?
And I'm saying that if that has not happened, how does that take away?
It's a
from the-
worry. It's a worry.
Why is it a worry?
It means that it's an attack on the transparent and accountability bid. That is what it
And
means.
Murtala, but the president has the director of communications.
No, but you see,
The president has the information ministry. So that if I do not have access to the president to ask a question,
Moro,
I can ask
Moro,
the information ministry
You have people who
whatever
work,
questions that I want to ask
you
the
have
president.
people who work with you in this department.
Yes.
Why is it that none of them is hosting this program? I said
Okay.
to you?
Let me, Michael. I want you to down to your point because I want to bring Alaji.
I mean, my
Alaji
final point on this. So,
Yeah.
before any flag bearer campaigns,
Mm-hmm.
or in the course of the campaign, you go to the people. You go to the people through the media.
Right.
Indeed, it is even equally the case that when the president meets Parliament, Article 67, giving the State of the Nation address, it may not necessarily reach out to every Ghanaian.
Right.
But we know
Right.
that when the president meets the press, you have vernacular speaking radio stations, television stations
Right.
with wide reach where he may be engaging the people and also ensuring that the people participate in our democratic space. As someone who believes in democracy, I think it's a worrying trend. When you give the opportunity for someone to steal 5 cedis and you say, oh, I mean, this is nothing, the next time he may be coming for 100 cedis,
Okay.
200 cedis, and I will be coming to even areas that have been established or promulgated
Right.
even by law, that the
Okay.
president is injuncted to do this. I mean, Murtala mentioned the fact that, of course, the address is anchored on 3 main areas. He talking about the economic issues, social issues, and governance issues. I think that is out of the convention that has been established. But I am calling actually for us to perhaps create maybe a constitutional instrument that will really define the parameters of such address. Because sometimes you listen to the address and it's more about the praise singing and always only talking about the achievement when we know that there are challenges that we are confronted with as a country.
they do-
and
they
that
do-
also
they
robs
do-
us.
they do
Yeah, but the
mention,
challenges pitch sometimes is just in a
Well,
flash.
yeah.
And then, of course, it's a form of political communication. And so
Right.
you'd want to let people know what you have done.
Right.
But this is about the state of the nation, which must be all encompassing,
Right.
which must cut across or permeate all corridors of our national life.
Right.
And so for me, a CI, that would perhaps define the parameters or more or less a template.
Right.
That listen, this is what you are supposed to be guided by
Okay.
as far as your state of the nation's address is concerned. I think that's key.
It will be interesting to pick the thoughts of Dennis Miracle Abuaji on this. But before I go back to him, we started the conversation on the fuel hikes. I know you're not a technical person. You're not into the petroleum industry. You're not a player in the petroleum industry. But what I do know is that you buy fuel.
Yes.
And so you're feeling the pinch just as all of us. What are your... So as we speak, the presidency is Apeduasi. They're looking at options available to them as to how they can cushion the ordinary Ghanaian. Do you have any suggestions for the government?
Well, of course, there have been a number of suggestions thrown at government. I think one thing about governance is also the demeanor that one is able to listen to suggestions, open up for criticisms, and also be willing to work with even those who may not be part of the government of the day to find solutions to some of these things. And I think it's a good thing hearing from the NDC that they are ever ready. I mean, given the opportunity that they are invited to be part of such discussions.
No, I haven't. I'm not. I can't speak for.
I think I had the national chairman.
Chairman,
You mean,
okay.
you mean if
Said
the
so.
if the government had invited you to Pedrazi, you wouldn't have attended?
No, I'm saying that if I don't speak for the NDC National Executive and the
Right.
party, and I
But that's
don't
your
want to
personal
make
opinion.
and I don't want to make a statement here. In fact, he's saying that he had our national chairman,
that's fine.
you know, saying
That's
that we would
All
participate.
right, Michael,
yes.
please go ahead.
Yeah. So for me, it is a good thing. So, well, if you're going to proffer solutions, first of all, the recipient of the solutions must have an open approach,
Must be prepared to listen.
prepared to listen.
Listen.
Then we know that, okay, this and this is what we can do.
Okay.
But while having a glance at our fuel pricing regime and all that,
Okay.
I mean, it is very obvious that we have so many taxes. I mean, when you listen to the experts, they tell you there are three main factors that influence
Yes.
the fuel price. We are
Right.
talking about the price on the international market. We
Right.
are talking about the exchange rate, which
Right.
Mutala touched on,
Right.
and of course the taxes and levies.
Levies.
And when you listen to them, most people say that where it appears government has full control has to do with the taxes and levies regime. It does
Right.
not mean that government does not have control over the exchange rate.
Perhaps it's not full control.
Precisely,
Yes.
or even the price on the international market,
Right.
because the price on the international market, to a large extent, is also connected to how strong your CD is, because you still need the CD to buy its equivalents in dollars on
Absolutely.
the international market.
Absolutely.
So many have been talking about government cutting down on some of the taxes or suspending some and all that. And two main taxes come to mind for me, very interestingly, the ESLA. And the ESLA was basically enacted or initiated to serve us in situations like this. So where there is an uncertain price regimes and all that, ESLA comes in to cushion the
And by
consumers-
ESLA, we're referring to
consumers.
the energy sector levy.
Precisely.
Right.
Also to
Now-
clear the debts.
Now, Mutala mentioned this,
Yeah,
that,
but that- but that-
ESLA, proceeds from ESLA today
Right.
appear to have been collateralized.
Yes.
So what it means is that you don't even have money to,
No, actually, portions of it have been collateral, not the entire ESLA.
Yeah, but-
portions of it.
yeah, but when you look at the
Component
ESLA
of
law,
it. I thought it was about 50% or so.
Why
Not-
should they even do so?
Okay.
no, you needn't even do so, because the ESLA law injuncts you to use portions of the money to also look at pre-mixed fuel issues.
Yes.
A portion to also look at the fuel price increment. I think one other, I've forgotten the
No, but I think you're talking about the price stabilization levy. That's the one you're referring to. not
Precisely,
ESLA. Yeah.
precisely.
That's
Thank
the
you.
price stabilization levy.
Precisely.
And
Good.
recovery
That's
levy.
what SLS mandate was quite clear,
Yes.
which was to clear the debts
Of toll and
ECG, VRA, and all of that.
And
It was
which succeeded in doing anyway.
because part of it has been securitized, and so there are even challenges there. But
Yeah,
you're
so-
talking about price stabilization levy.
Precisely. Thanks
Right,
for the correction.
right.
Now, so the issue is, why is it the case that this is not coming in handy now
Right.
to help remedy the situation?
Right.
Again, there's the issue on sanitation and pollution levy, which I saw in the build-up. And
Yeah.
I am also interested in, so what was the import, the rationale for this levy?
Okay.
I am sure to take care of sanitation-related issues.
Right.
But what is the state of our sanitation now? I mean, these are things we need to interrogate. Though we are talking about fuel issues today, we have all these levies that are in there for specific purposes. It's high time we interrogate whether or not these things are serving the purpose for which they've been enacted.
Okay.
Now, this whole thing about collateralizing our funds is of a major worry for me. And as someone who believes in the future and young people's tomorrow, I think that a president that has the habit, or a government that has the habit of collateralizing virtually everything, appears to be a government that may not necessarily be thinking about future generations. Because for most of the funds that we have collateralized, we will start paying them, whatever, I think from 2025 thereabout. What it means is that government must cough out money to begin paying the interest on these engagements we have with international lenders and what have you.
Right.
Now, government from 2025 may not be having enough space because of all these payments and as a result of these collateralizations. And so young people in this country are being robbed of the opportunity of funding for policies, programs, projects that will inure to a better living standards for them tomorrow.
Right.
And so anytime a government, and you see, it's also connected to how, for instance, moral society, professional bodies like GPRTU, TUC, civil society organizations have been sitting sometimes aloof and always looking on, particularly when they think that whatever action or inaction government takes, it does not directly affect them. So let's take, for instance, the free SHS. Government spoke about free SHS. I mean, Akufo-Addo campaigned on it. On BBC, he was asked how he was going to finance it. He couldn't answer. He said he would prefer coming to the Ghanaian people to tell them how he was going to fund it. But that was a critical policy warranting serious interrogation about its financial sustainability. And it's an issue that the TUC, GPRTU, everybody should have been involved. But the conversation will be that, I mean, free SHS does not directly affect workers or does not directly affect our living conditions. So we'll not talk about it. But when you think about it critically, where there may not be any financial space, any funding available to take care of it, if you don't take care, the monies that may be used to increase your wages and salary tomorrow will be used to take care of free SHS. If you don't take care, the taxes that government could have easily come in to reduce in order to cushion consumers of fuel and also to help GPRTU will be channeled to ensuring that free SHS still stands. So there's always that interconnection with government policies and what may happen tomorrow. And so when Miracles was, for instance, talking about what is happening elsewhere in other countries, yes, there are a number of facts we can all agree to. That yes, there is some global turbulence, there are issues globally. But again, it is also a fact that governments have been affected differently. It is equally a fact that governments have been affected differently because governments have acted in time past differently. And so when you compare, for instance, Ghana to Germany, he mentioned Germany. Germany, yes, is a federal republic, but has only 15 ministries, for instance. Ghana has so many ministries that sometimes, duplicate roles. And all these things have a bearing on your financial standing, on your revenue generation as a country, on your expenditure as a country. So we can always, we should be comparing. It is good because you learn best practices and all that. But we must also admit that, listen, countries do things differently. Yes, fuel prices have increased on the global market, but it has not affected consumers across the globe in same manner, with same consequences as it is in Ghana today.
Okay.
In Togo, for instance, it's not the case. In Nigeria, for instance, it's not the case. So it means that there are other factors that also influence this whole conversation we are having.
Okay.
And some of the factors actually even, you see, it's also about how we conceptualize governance. We think that, it's all about today, short-termist thinking, and not about the future. So I wasn't even surprised when we had a long-term national development plan, and that was kicked out, particularly by this government. When we try to see how best we can amend our constitution, for instance, and to also follow the processes of actual amendment, it wasn't followed through. But you see, all these things have connections to what happens today. But because we are unable to think holistically, as far as our problem-solving skills is concerned, we end up looking at things in isolated cases.
Okay.
And so you see civil society organizations, for instance, UTAC, even pressure groups like UTAC and what have you, only thinking about their living conditions, but forgetting that when they talk about free SHS today, when they talk about any other policy today, it may still have a bearing on their demands in the future because of its financial, sustainability or otherwise.
Right.
So Governance is a continuum, no two ways about that. And that is why what we do today as government.
Okay.
My last take on this fuel price thing.
Yeah, because I want to bring in the.
I keep wondering whether politicians have been learning.
Okay. Now, but
From
no,
the
no,
floor
no,
politics.
no. See, when you drop all the filler, you may run out of what to say. Don't worry. We have another 1 hour to go, so you have a lot to say about the way forward and what lessons we can learn. Because I have Alhaji Imoro Abbas Imoro in the studio. Let me also ask him to give his brief thoughts, and then I go to Dennis Miracles Abuaji. He is still on the line, but the WhatsApp line is 05000 25621 050002561. If you have any comments you want to share, any contributions you want to make about the conversation on the economy and fuel. Of course, we do know that challenge with fuel largely driven by the depreciation of the cedi. And then also, do you have any concerns about the fact that the president still delivered the State of the Nation address? If you have any view to express on that, I'll be more than happy to hear from you. Alhaji, it's good to see you.
Thank you.
At your last meeting with I think it was with the Energy and Finance Ministry, I want to believe so. It was tripartite, yourself, finance and energy, was it? Wasn't it?
At the Transport Ministry.
Well, it was the Transport Ministry and the Energy Ministry as well.
Yes.
Okay.
They were together with the Transport
Minister. I recall when, after that particular meeting, you met the media. In fact, you granted interviews. And one of the things you said was that you had mentioned to the sector ministers that once fuel prices go up, you would want to be allowed to increase transport fares accordingly based on whatever calculations you make. So you basically want some kind of an automatic adjustment to your fares. Has that clause kicked in as we speak to warrant, for instance, an increase in transport fares?
Thank you. There was an ancient standing order.
Okay.
Of which we have 10% threshold.
Okay.
Of any upward adjustment in fuel prices.
What does 10% upward threshold means? What? It cannot go be above 10%.
I'm explaining.
Okay.
Further.
All right. Please go ahead.
And it is said that should we come out with an upward adjustment in lorry fares today, looking at the pump price today,
Ex-pump price.
Yes. Price, you just have to calculate from that price. And for example, when the latest upward lorry fare price that we brought out, the later price was around 7.990. We came out like with the press when we were discussing issues with them. We said, yes, it's almost 8 cedis. And 10% of 8 cedis is 8.8. So if the prices get to 8.8 and above, we have to reorganize ourselves and come out with any further upward adjustment in lorry fares. I quite remember our press release we issue out. It was dated 21st February 2022, and we stated in that document that effective from 26 February 2022, the new lorry fares shall take effect. In the second paragraph of that document, we stated this very issue of this 10% threshold. Lo and behold, within 1 month or so, here we are, above even the 10%. So it is not a secret arrangement between the transport operators and the transport or the energy ministry, but this has been an issue which has also come out in one of the documents. So it's not a new thing to Ghanaians that we are not aware. It was just recently. Well, it isn't our fault. We are into serious business, and everybody knows people travel as far as China to buy wares and come and sell. And nobody will buy something 3 cedis and will sell it at 2 cedis. Not at all. We want to make sure our transport industry becomes more lucrative for the young ones coming also to join. Imagine I and you are of the same age. We all grew up at the same area together. We attend the same school. I decide to join the transport industry, and you decide today you are a successful journalist, I should say. You are on a fast salary, maybe you're on a single spine salary, and I am struggling. Should both of us children pass to one of these universities, how do I take care of my child?
Right.
Why I'm struggling to even get my 3 times daily bread. I mean, that is what we are trying to do, to make sure our industry becomes more lucrative. We are not being oppressed as it used to be some time past, because when we came up with this 15%, most of our people were not happy with it. They had wanted us to come
wanted
out with
30%.
The 30%.
Yes, I
that,
heard
but by
they were
then,
talking 30%.
by then, we are Ghanaians. If I have a car on my own, look, I have a very large family, of which I have to think about them. My children have to go to school. They will join somebody's vehicle, and they will pay as well. So we look at both sides and make sure we keep moving. If we charge so much and you put your vehicle at the station, nobody joins, you have no business doing.
But I've heard some people also say that usually when you guys just increase prices, I mean, fuel prices come down, you hardly bring your fares down.
Yes.
Why?
We want the public to understand. We have other components, although fuel is the main it's a key component we use in running transport.
Yes.
We have other components like spare parts, lubricants, even documentations that we use in running transport. You heard the government budget presented later last year that effective from 1st January, all government institutions will have to increase their issues by 15%. That one has been increased. Spare parts have gone up. So if you reduce fuel price, normally even fuel prices have been increased by 20 pesos, 30 pesos on a liter. We have realized 1 peso or 2 peso reduction, I think once or twice. How many times? So if a fuel is being, this time even no pesos, cedis, because from 8 cedis on pesos, we've shoot up to 11 cedis and some pesos. So this time not even pesos, cedis have been add up. So if some pesos is being reduced, meanwhile spare parts has never been reduced. The lubricants are still the same where they are. Documentations that we were paying lower and today we are paying higher has never been reduced. How do we reduce the lorry fares?
I understand you. So what are we looking at, even before I bring in the my other resource person on Zoom? What are we looking at? 10% increments,
Roughly 15.
I mean, at
15%, but
15%.
We are going to put human first in addition. Our industry
Alaji,
is
15%.
fading. Yes, please. Our industry is fading out. Drivers, we are struggling to live happily as a professional institution.
Wow. So even when you increase it by 15% the last time, you're saying that you're still making losses? Or you're struggling to break even?
Yes, that's what we are doing now. Because until we came up with this.
Help us understand in more practical terms. If you buy, say, fuel, say 200 Ghana cedis a day, you're saying that you are hardly able to make 200 Ghana cedis by the close of day.
When I get into the transport industry, somewhere in 82, I bought my first car in 82. Okay. That's the 140J, 45,000.
That's it.
Yes, 140J, Tunabo. Yes. And I seriously got into transportation seriously in 84.
Okay.
But I started in 82.
Right.
Those days, if you buy 1 gallon, you work with it, at the end of it, the money will double.
Yes.
So you get the 1 gallon that you bought, and get the other 1 gallon money as the work you have done. So if you are able to use 5 gallons, you are able to, at the end of the day, get that 5 gallons money as what you have worked for the day.
Okay.
Today is not the way we started with.
Okay.
So if you are not careful, even you will say the transport industry is not a lucrative business whereby the younger ones coming will also join. So let's see the way forward. We are saying we are into serious business, commercial business. When things change, we shall change.
And Elijah, you're saying that you will not go below 15%.
Well, I haven't. We never take entrenched positions.
Okay.
We have never.
And
we are always law abiding.
Right. For now, you're looking at 15%.
Yes.
But anything is possible.
Well, when West come to West, we shall.
When do you intend to do this?
Well, we have written to the Transport Ministry. The letter was dated 17th March.
March.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was last Thursday.
Yes.
Looking for a meeting on Monday.
Okay.
Hopefully, we haven't, as at Friday before,
Hasn't been any
there hasn't been
reply
any,
yet.
but we strongly believe the way it is now.
Okay.
By Monday, Tuesday, definitely
We'll
we shall
hear-
have a meeting and
we'll hear the
whatever
big
the
announcement.
decision we take.
Okay.
You see, the kind of social service we are rendering to the public is not like other social services where we can organize press and tell them effective from Monday we are changing the prices because we are using the roads. The road is for all Ghanaians.
That's true.
We are in the transport industry. The government is also supporting the general public. Hence, we've been meeting to dialogue on we want this because of this and that and that. Government will also played, oh, yes, why don't we do it this way? Because at the last sitting, government authorities accepted the hardship in the country. Hence, we have to use human face to come down to the 15%.
I will ask you about this. There's as we speak, there's some crunch meeting happening at the DUAC. The president is chairing a crunch cabinet meeting.
Before then,
Before you go ahead, yes.
Before then, you remember later part of last year,
Yes.
we suggested scrapping out of some of the,
The levies and
taxes
taxes.
and levies.
I was just about to.
I
come there.
suspected, but
Yes.
that is why I want to put mine before. you
No,
put
that's
yours.
fine. That's fine.
You see, and nobody, government isn't here to our suggestions. The whole thing looks like when electrics were doing security work, they say this is a watchman work. And now, NPA has also spoken that yes, the only way out is to make sure some of these taxes and levies are being taken off. And let's see, now that the same business is called security, you know, when the electrics were doing the security work, they say watchman work. That is was watchman's work. Now, some of these graduates and senior high school level people are in the same watchman work, but it's now called security. So let's wait and see
Okay.
if security shall be considered.
All right. Now I have tons of your messages. I have loads of them. Close to about 20 something messages. I mean, all of you expressing opinions about the fuel prices and generally the harsh nature of the economy. I'll be reading that. Now, Dennis Miracle Abuaje is also on Zoom, but we have to take a short break. Dennis, I'd beg of you, we'll take a short break. It won't be more than a minute. When we come back, I'm sure you have tons of responses to make on most of the things that have been said. State of the nation, which is yet to be delivered, fuel prices, and what should be looking forward to. This is Inside Pages. My name is Mo Radu. I'll be right back. All right, welcome back. This is Inside Pages. My name is Mo Radu. I have the Member of Parliament for the Tamale Central constituency, Alhaji Murtala Mohammed. He's here with us, and also Alhaji Imo Rabaz, who is the he's in charge of industrial relations for the GPRTU, and also Michael Abe is with the Friedrich Ebert Stiff Tango Foundation. It's such a mouthful, so sometimes we struggle, especially Murtala. He doesn't even want to mention it at all. So it's a no-go area. He'll just say stiff tongue and be free. He doesn't
And
want
one
any-
thing about
he doesn't
them,
want
they
any
help
problem.
in shaping a lot of us.
yes, the
Particularly
policies.
student leaders.
I
Yes.
see. All right, so let's do this. So Dennis Abuaje is on the line. Dennis, you've been monitoring the conversation. Dennis, I want to believe you've been monitoring the conversation. Do you have any? How do you call it? Do you have any responses you want to give?
Yes, of course I do, but it's unfortunate my internet here on the hills today.
Yeah,
It's
it's not
failing
been
me.
it's not been the best. Yeah.
Where are
It's
you?
with my
Where are
senior
you?
brother.
Where are you?
I'm in Latte, I'm in my hometown.
Are you
in
sure
my
you are in Latte?
in Latte. And that allowed my senior brother, the comrade.
Oh my god. Oh my god. This connection, this internet connection, I think is a big problem. But whilst waiting for Dennis, Enokeji from Asindompim says, good morning. I wonder how a common poor cocoa farmer can afford to buy a gallon of petrol to fuel their machine to spray their cocoa farm at this hike of petroleum products. That's Enokeji from Asindompim. Exhibits, this one says from Dominic, inside Sishi Asawenso. Please, good morning. I'm enjoying the show, Mr. Morrow. We are suffering too much. We need GM to save us from such difficulties 2024. We will show them. Please extend my greetings to Exhibit and say Asama. Right, Dennis, you're back. Dennis, good to have you back.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, good to have you back.
Is it clear now?
Right, please go ahead.
Okay, so I mean, quickly, so I don't lose the internet again. I'm glad you asked Comrade Mutala which of the issues he raised are new and which of them the government hasn't responded to already. And of course, he told you there are a few of them that are new, and he himself admitted that the dollar issue is new. I am sure he understands that the dollar issue is new because of the extraordinary circumstances that we found ourselves recently. Immediately the fuel crisis set in. What it meant is that we even need to buy a lot more dollar to be able to even bring in fuel at every point in time. Because once you put your crude on sale, the next 2 or 3 days, the dollar, the fuel price is going up. You need to buy more dollars to be able to afford it. These are facts and realities that nobody can run away from it. Of course, if you want to do propaganda with it, that is fine. That is the industry that we all find ourselves in, and there isn't much anybody can do to help you if you want to embark on that journey. But it doesn't take the facts and the truth away. The fact remains that our dollar in recent times, as he himself admits, has seen the situation that it is in simply because of the global indicators. We are dealing with partners that we always need to convert our currency into dollars before we're able to trade with them. And so if you have some instability and volatility at the end, and for which reason prices are shooting up all over Europe, a product at $10,000 to Ghana, and you have to go and buy more dollars before
Wow.
that. You cannot take that scenario. You cannot take that scenario.
I really wish we get.
Oh, well, that's, I don't know, but so let me continue with the WhatsApp message and
I
then
don't
I'll
think
come back in
it's
the
that
house.
letter, because letter, the network is
The
so good.
network is slow. Now, James K. Saba says, power is like an army officer in uniform. The moment the uniform is hung on the wall, nobody will salute you again. I always remember what my dad told me. He said we should be very careful because power can deceive us. MPP should not think that the power is permanent. Things can change. Power is permanent. Things can change at any time. Those of them misbehaving should be careful. That's coming from James K. Saba. Now, Jonathan from Bongo, Upper East Region says, I'm surprised people have issues with the inability of the president to give SONA. The president has finished telling us his untruths. I like it if I don't have to contend listening to him. Excuse me, Mr. President sounds blah, blah, blah when he talks. Very boring. He's got nothing new to tell us. The solution is that he should begin telling the truth and listen to divergent views. The arrogance of government is unmatched. Paul from Abor says, good morning, Metro TV. The only option for this government is to tender their resignation letter because they are failed hopefully, and then shame to the economic management team. That's Paul from Above Water Region. And he said, good morning, the president is a public servant. He's answerable to the Ghanaian public. I can't understand why at this time when the nation is in such a dire and terrible state, he chooses to be silent. And I do find his nonchalance very insensitive. Most Ghanaians are suffering apart from the political elite. He's answerable to every taxpayer. We pay all these politicians' salaries. Good morning, Mr. Host. I have been following submissions from your panel. However, I want to say to you that the country has had such discussions in the past and things got worse economically. Don't you think it's about time we do something different as a nation? For instance, why can't English-speaking language think of using the same currency? Ghana and Nigeria in particular should use the same currency. Also, tax on fuel should be scrapped. Thank you. That's Shadrach from Kasua. And this one says, good morning. We voted for the president. We did not vote for the Minister of Information or other ministers. The president must meet the press and answer critical questions. We are suffering. Haba. And this one says, the stabilization levy cannot be accounted for. Someone needs to be jailed. Transport fares will likely go up again. So does the president think about us? The taxes are too much and they are not used for whatever purpose it was set up. Dennis from Dan Soman. This one says, a small country like Ghana, we have so many ministers. Cut it down, Mr. President. Good morning. I'm Abdul Tawab from Tamale Central, and I just want to convey a very big gratitude to Honorable Mutala for always representing and making us proud. Your constituents are proud of you, Mutala. Please, my name is Jeffrey. Why has the fuel price increased and other things too have increased, such as yam, smoked salmon, and other products? I can't even go to the market again. What is this? Seidu. And this one from Manaf from Wa. Bihie, I believe. It says, good morning to all viewers of Metro TV. The simple way to handle these issues at the moment is to reduce the number of ministers and the presidential staffers. Aaron from Tamale North said, good morning, Metro TV. The MPP government has imposed a lot of hardship in the system. The cost of fuel prices have been increasing day in, day out, and it's due to the negligence of the MPP government. Our city keeps increasing and our city keeps depreciating, and yet the government is not taking any step to make life easy for Ghanaians. The government is haughty and pompous. GEM 2024, inshallah. And this one says, good morning to you and your panel. Greetings to Mutala. Very good expressions. Nado and Bamia are bad managers of the economy. They are failed in all the sectors of the economy, education, transportation, employment, health, and others. Big promises and nothing to show. This one says, the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bamia, and Chief of Staff, a few days ago, said NAPCO trainees should remain at post. My question to them is that the end of the journey of NAPCO trainees? I don't get that. I'm Philip, reaching you from Tamale. I need a Tamale Central Member of Parliament's number and also the handsome man wearing a round hat number. Mr. Michael Abbey, I need your number. Where is the IMF and 2 billion and World Bank for 30 million to Ranado and Baumia Fuseni Tema? Says, please address our Member of Parliament for Tamale Central, Honorable Mutala Mohammed, as honorable. Okay, yes, sir. I heard you. Terrible can't beat me here. Good morning, Metro TV.
Comrade.
For me, I even don't want to see the GPR to Alhaji Moro because they are all MPP. And they are backing this government. Why? Anytime the fuel has increased, the very day it starts work and we'll buy and collect the old price. Why? I don't understand what you're saying. The government has nothing. Please hold on a second. The government has nothing to offer Ghanaians. What they know is to blah blah blah. I'm not gonna say that. Now, good morning. President Nado has consistently been addressing the nation every Sunday during the COVID-19. There was Ghana Health Service, Ministry of Health, etc. to give us updates. Now the president is running away from the conditional duty of addressing Parliament. Why? Kwam Kojo in Zema and Yenase. He says that, good morning, it is very painful to hear government communicators defending the indefensible. And he says what is happening in the country isn't a mystery. Physically and economically, they are in the full glare and the eyes of everyone. So they should stop the unnecessary defense. The more they try to explain themselves, the more they confuse us. And this one says, good morning. Hello. I like your program very much, but I'm urging you to stop being biased with your questions and opinions, because the good people of Ghana can't be wrong against the e-levy. My name is Saigon. I'm in trouble. Good morning, sir. I'm the General Secretary for all NAPCO trainees. Hey, please, kindly find out for me when NAPCO trainees are going to be paid. We are Ghanaians and we have worked and we deserve better. Nane Kema Boateng Ablekuma Central says, good morning, Mr. Moro. I'm not surprised about the lopsided arguments from Mutala Mohammed. Even the world's superpower are equally having issues with the high increase in fuel prices. How much more developing countries? Some few years ago, malaria kills thousands of people in this country. Are we witnessing the same today? The answer is no. Same applies to COVID. The president once said, we know how to bring economy back to life, but what we do not know is how to bring the people back to life. So for sure, the president will surely bring a relief to the good people of Ghana. And Nane Kema Boateng from Ablekuma Central, aka E-Levy is good. And this one here says, yes, he says that's his, also known as. And this one here says that, good morning, the presenter is purely MPP activist. It shows through his actions. He's also said majority cannot be wrong. I want to ask him if the majority is wrong on E-Levy. Moro, we need postpaid to Charlie. They say I'm MPP. So that's what accusations plenty. Okay, so let me come to. I'm told Dennis is back on the line. Dennis. Dennis, I hope we have a better line now. Okay, so when Dennis comes, yes.
No,
Alhaji was on the floor.
Okay.
Alhaji,
Yeah.
yes, you were about to tell us. Yes,
We
somebody wanted
appear
to respond to.
here
Yes.
not on political platform.
right.
We are into serious transport business. So I'll plead with them. I'm a Ghanaian, and it is my fundamental right to belong to a political party of my choice.
Yes.
They should take me out of politics if I appear here. But I belong to a party. I wouldn't want somebody to push me to.
Oh, you belong to a party?
Oh, I'm a Ghanaian. I have to vote. I've been voting.
Consistently.
No, but there's
for
a
one
difference.
political party.
Brother,
There's
one
a
political
difference
party.
between
My
voting
brother,
and
my
being a
brother.
member of a political
Yes.
party.
if I
No, Michael
appear
said there's a
here-
difference between.
No, I want the.
Moro, which party have you been voting?
I want the contributor
And
to
now you are an
understand that.
NPP person.
Yes. About 4 people say, baby, I'm so
See,
biased.
I want
this
the
morning.
contributor to admit and
Yes.
accept that I never appear on these platforms to say something politically.
Yeah.
I seriously contribute
Professional.
on my transport business.
Right.
So please, but I'm telling him I'm a Ghanaian.
all right.
It is my fundamental right.
Right,
But what
okay.
he said was wrong. He
Okay.
shouldn't. So put it beside.
You mean it's okay? It's a very unfair charge.
Yes,
and
against
a
me,
very
yes.
a very unfair criticism of you. Okay, so Dennis hopefully should be joining us back. We have about 10 minutes to wrap up.
For the program.
Yes.
Wow.
Well, we've been talking for 1.5 hours. It's not a joke. Yes.
Moro,
for 1.5
quickly-
hours. Yeah. So, Mutara, what do you think? No. So you see, you have called for some levies to be dropped because one of the things that the MP keeps accusing the NDC of that you only criticize, you don't give alternative solutions. You're asking for 3 levies and taxes to be dropped. So you special petroleum tax. You even think that the ESLA you can't touch ESLA.
The price stabilization.
So yeah, price stabilization
He also
levy,
spoke about sanitation.
and he's talking about
pollution.
sanitation and pollution.
But they forget about the special petroleum tax. They should include
Yeah, you
that.
didn't mention the special petrol. That's true.
I haven't even
Because-
spoken on this. I'm
No,
surprised.
but when I heard the
I'm
no
surprised
yesterday,
Nene-
John Jenapol
I'm
held a news
surprised Nene
conference.
Ikuya was telling me that.
Oh, that's
I mean,
okay. All right. I some of these messages,
I really lopsided. In fact, Muru,
yes.
let me just
What do you think is the way forward?
for 30 seconds.
Yes.
The levies.
Yes.
Energy debt recovery levy,
Mm-hmm.
49 pesos.
Yes.
Road fund levy, 48 pesos. Energy fund levy, 1 pesos.
Yes.
Stabilization and recovery levy, 14 pesos.
Yes.
Sanitation and pollution levy, 10 pesos. Energy sector recovery levy is like you have it appear more than 2.
Yes.
About 2, 20 pesos. Special petroleum tax, 46 pesos. Primary distribution margin, 11 pesos.
Wow.
Boss margin, 9 pesos. Fuel marketing margin, 5 pesos. Marketers margin, can you imagine?
Okay.
Fuel marketing margin, the marketers
Marketers.
margin,
Okay.
which is 46%. And dealers, retailers, operators margin, 30 pesos.
Okay.
It constitutes about 40% of the fuel prices.
Okay.
Nene Ikuya, that is what this government has done to the people of this country. But let me make this point. I have
Okay.
listened to a lot of government.
Okay.
The argument is that, yes, the reason why petroleum prices are going high because the crude prices globally have gone up.
Okay.
Ghana is now a net producer of crude.
Right.
President Mahama inherited, in fact, President Mahama inherited one well
Right.
as a state-owned, right?
Okay.
President Mahama bequeathed to President Nana Addo 3. The amount of money we get as a result of oil is huge now. As a matter of fact, the projection that was made, that we're making over $300 million on oil.
Right.
And let me just read the 2019 budget statement
Okay.
in Parliament,
Right.
as presented by Mr. Ken Ofori-Atta.
Okay.
That's the budget speech of government, of Ghana in 2019 financial year. Let me just come here.
Yes.
In 2018, Ghana exported over 2.8 billion worth of crude oil in 2017,
Okay.
and imported 1.7 billion of refined petroleum products, resulting in a positive net balance of $1.1 billion.
Okay.
So we are now a net producer of crude.
Yes.
And therefore, if crude prices surges globally, we stand to benefit. As a
Yes.
matter of fact,
Yes.
the projection that was made was against $65
Yes.
per barrel.
That was the benchmark.
Benchmark.
Yes.
And with that,
Yes.
we were even making some profit
Yes.
because we're a net producer.
Right.
this analysis that was made and captured in the 2019 financial statement was based on that projection.
But Mutala,
I'm coming, let me finish.
Yes.
Now it is about moving around $130, $140 per barrel.
it's come down to 100.
So I'm saying that
Yes.
it went
It went to
that.
138, yes.
It means that we're making a lot of profit. In fact, government of Ghana is making $40 now. Because if it is above $100,
Yes.
we're making $40.
So the question is, what are they using the money
So
for?
what it simply means is that
Okay.
we're making a lot of profit.
Windfall.
Now, what the windfall?
Yes.
So government has no business in selling fuel for us or petrol and diesel for us at such intolerable rates. What responsible governments do, just like Nigeria did, as a result of that windfall, you cushion consumers by subsidizing under the prevailing circumstance. In any case, those taxes are nuisance taxes. Government has no business even allowing them. Granted that they are so recalcitrant and they don't want to take it out. How about the windfall? And I heard those who have argued, yes, it gives government the opportunity to use it to defray some of the debts.
Absolutely, that's the point.
ESLA was meant to defray debts in the energy sector.
Let me go
ESLA
to-
was instituted by
let me,
President
because
Mahmoud.
we have just 5 minutes, let me go to Dennis. Dennis, I think you give us your last take on this conversation and then we can wrap up. Hopefully we would have a better, clearer line now. Yes. Please unmute so that we can hear you.
Very, very, very difficult for me this
Please
morning.
do. Yes, I know. It's a very difficult
Hearing
morning.
Because you are not in
hearing
Latin.
comrade speak and comrade saying all the things he say and me not being able to, respond.
You should
to
have
them
been
is
here.
Very frustrating. Yes, I apologize for that. So quickly, I think that all the things he's saying come to one thing. What is the alternative that the NDC are putting out for Ghanaians?
I
To
would
say
say
that, okay,
answer
today,
that.
as crude is being sold at X amount of money, which is affecting how much we are buying and importing from the global market. If we're in government, we would have probably asked all oil marketing companies to come and take money from us for free and then buy the crude and sell it to Ghanaians at a certain amount of money. It doesn't change the facts on the ground. It doesn't change the fact that the challenges we are facing right now with our fuel pricing is at a global level. And there are very little things we can do to support this. If you remember correctly, a few months before, I think the end of the year, the government actually removed the price stabilization levy. So we can cushion Ghanaians at some point. But you see, that is not sustainable because the price of the crude on the international market kept ballooning. And once it keeps ballooning, it will get to a point where even the removal of that levy becomes completely useless. And as we sit now, it's completely useless. I hear Honorable Mutala list a tall number of taxes and levies on the petroleum products. And he's saying this is what the government is doing to the people of Ghana. Ask him if they had zero taxes on fuel when they were in government. And ask him if they are going to make taxes zero on fuel prices for the people of Ghana. If he's able to tell you,
Oh my God, it's quite unfortunate. Let me read this one from Julius, and then you can just do a minute each because we're running out of time. Now, Julius Akahuwa and Tahiru says from Asawasi says, Moro, please tell Mr. Dezabaji to stop globalizing their incompetence when we ever ask them to fix the problems of this country. Our president and his vice should do something about the unnecessary fuel increment because they promise to solve the problems of this country, including the fuel price and the economy of the country. Please, those we have been tasked to deal with this fuel issue should do something about it to soften the hardship on the innocent Ghanaians. My regards, Honorable Mutala. Now, let me just do this quickly from a very good friend of mine. Mekaya. Mekaya is... he says, good morning to all of you. And you're actually organizing, how do you call it, the outdooring of your, yes, the newly born child. And it's happening on Sunday, 27th March. That's next week, Sunday. So, Bekaya, and congratulations to you, Jalil, and your wife, Hawa, for this beautiful thing that Allah has done for you. So I want to say a big congratulations. He says congratulations. He says, he says hi to you as well. Yes. And yes, so it's 9:56. We have just 2 minutes to wrap. I don't know how we're going to do this. Michael, I guess if you can do it a minute each, and then we can say bye-bye.
Right, so thank you. I hope
Sure.
to do this within a minute.
Yes, please do.
So Miracles again touched on the fact that he is very much aware that IMF is not on the table as far as the PGRC discussion is concerned. And he gave some reasons why he thinks going to the IMF is a big no. But, I mean, so he talked about the fact that public sector employment may be, there will be an embargo on public sector employment. And also, he mentioned the nursing allowance, something the IMF may ask you to hold on.
Okay.
And this basically falls within what we call the conditionalities that normally come with going to the IMF. But I always hold a different view that when you look at IMF engagement, though, yes, when you look at the measures they churn out, largely may not appear to have inure or result in any rapid economic growth.
Yep.
They help in stabilizing your economy.
Right.
And if you go to the IMF, for instance, and the IMF tells you to place an embargo on public sector employment, what does that mean?
Right.
I mean, what it means is very simple. That you avoid a situation where you go to, for instance, GBC today, GBC, which is expected to just have its staff capacity of 500, now maybe over 800 thereabout, meaning that you have people doing double work. So you need to rationalize these things. So when IMF comes and tells, listen, you are doing it wrongly. You are ballooning the wage bill by employing more people in an institution that is supposed to take just 50 or 100, and you are employing 200, 300. Clearly, you are ballooning your wage bill, which will now come to haunt you.
Okay.
And so it is not the case that necessarily IMF conditionalities are bad in themselves.
Right.
Indeed, IMF would ensure that the president doesn't charter
But they're saying that instead of going
14,000.
to the IMF, we know what the IMF will do. Let's do it. Why do we have to go to the IMF to tell us?
So
that's
when,
what they're trying to do with the e-levy and so on.
So
I'm told
when
that they'll take us off,
when
unfortunately.
government
Unfortunately.
Muro,
Just
Muro,
30 seconds, I beg you.
Muro, it's very
We
simple.
have just 30 seconds,
Yes.
otherwise they'll take us.
You see,
have
he
some-
asked whether the NDC has profiled any solution.
Yes.
We have been saying this consistently.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, if the NDC was in power and we had some of these taxes,
Okay.
that was the reason why we introduced ESLA.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, if you go through Honorable Adam Mohamed Amin Ante's articles and press conferences,
All right.
as the head of ASEP, in 2016, they indicated that we had cleared the third debt.
Okay.
And therefore, there wasn't any need for us to continue
Right.
with that.
So you have proffered the solutions.
Two. You see, the communicators of this government and the first ladies and second ladies are not doing it. You have Samira who went to London and said that, oh, everything is rosy in Ghana. The economy is good. President Nana-Addo has provided everything. You see, this same woman went to India and the only thing she could do was to go and visit Kumkum Bagia. So
Thank
I'm
you.
saying that those things don't
Murtala, thank
agar
you.
well.
Thank you very much. Alaji, 30 seconds. Way forward.
We are pleading to the general public to follow us and make sure the right things are being done.
Okay.
If we come out with a new law, the fault is not from us.
Okay.
We are into serious business.
So we should bear with you.
Yeah, they should bear with us.
Thank you very much for watching another edition of Inside Pages. My name is Moradu. Thank you very much for the technical crew and the production team as well. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.